welcome to yet another episode of We the People. Today we have with us Mr. Piyush Jain, the founder of Ecoponic Agri Tech, which is a hydroponics brand. Piyush, welcome to the show, and I would please request you to introduce yourself and, more importantly, your brand to our audience.
Thank you, Pooja. It's very happy to be here. And so my name is Piyush Jain. I'm the owner and founder of Ecoponic Agri Tech. We actually, from the point of farming to the point of consumer, we see the source of the growing to the point of the consumer buying. So we have developed a brand called Eat, which the consumers can easily purchase in different locations as well as our own e-com website. So they get the freshest produce out there. Along with that, there's a lot of healthy additions and a lot of sustainable farming options for the B2B clients as well. So that's why we are working at, and we are trying to grow as and when we speak.
Right. So, from what I know, Ecoponic Agritech mainly works with hydroponically grown produce, right? So, for our audiences, if you could just briefly tell us what exactly is hydroponics, what is the concept, how is it grown, and why is it such a new, hyped up concept?
So hydroponic in a layman's term is basically soilless farming. So there is no soil involved in hydroponic farming. As the word hydroponic also means, hydro means water and ponic means to work. So you're working with water. The way that these plants grow in water is that this it's a nutrient rich water. So the nutrients that the plants require, they actually suck it through the water itself. So there is no soil required when it comes to growing, and that's basically how hydroponic is different from your traditional farming.
Right.
And as we know that hydroponics is a new way of cultivation, but it's an age old technique, right? India started adapting it, but then at the same time we are seeing that from the last 3 4 years that we have been working, from the first year that we started, like we started educating people, but from this year onwards we see people are already, they know about what hydroponic is and the benefits of it. So we see a lot of awareness that is already up and about.
Right. Piyush, also, I feel, isn't hydroponics a westernized concept? Because in a country like India, that is known to be an agricultural country, it's known कि यहाँ के जो farmers हैं, यहाँ के जो किसान हैं, बहुत मेहनत करते हैं and produce grow करते हैं, and India is also one of the biggest exporters of be it vegetables, be it fruits, any form of
Right.
edible produce, right?
Right.
So, what is the need for hydroponics in a country like India that is so agriculturally strong?
Definitely. So when we speak about hydroponic, it is not a substitute of agricultural, the traditional agriculture. It is more of a support system of agriculture.
Okay.
When hydroponic, when we practice hydroponic farming, there's a lot you can control. So the seasonality actually ends over there. So with the traditional agriculture, there is limitations when it comes to your season, your land, your water. But when we practice hydroponic farming, these limitations are not bounded, basically. That is the basic difference of how it supports the agricultural system rather than a substitute of it. And
Okay.
when we talk about it is a Western concept, it is actually not a Western concept, Pooja. Like you heard about the hanging gardens of Babylon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's basically a hydroponic system back in the Aztecs time,
Oh
right?
God. Okay.
Uh, it got commercially viable in the West because their soil depletion and water scarcity started play a role.
Right.
So as we know, the Green Revolution, like you're aware of the Green
Yes,
Revolution,
of
right?
course.
So the Green Revolution in US started in 1940s. So a lot
Okay.
of chemicals were used to increase the farmers' capacity,
Right.
and same as in India, it started in around 1960s. So we are still 20 years behind the Western world. So hydroponic plays the role where like it's sustainable because you're not eroding the soil, or you're not using at much water that a traditional agriculture uses.
Right.
So even be it like if we have abundance of land, the land is depleting as we are going ahead with the agricultural sector, right?
Right.
So this is where hydroponic plays a role in India, where like we are actually bringing the freshest produce to the market and can be grown very close to the city limits.
Right.
That's the basic difference when we see the Western world and the
Indian.
Indian society,
Right.
and that's where hydroponic can play its part,
Okay,
basically.
so if you could just explain to us a basic process जिससे हाइड्रोपोनिक्स चलते हैं, मतलब
हम्म
क्या न्यूट्रिएंट्स डालना होता है, कैसा टाइप का पानी डालना होता है, क्या उसका टाइमलाइन होता है, कितने डेज में वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट ग्रोथ फॉर एनी वन
Right.
स्पीशीज ऑफ फूड.
So let's take an example of a plant that is growing in soil in a traditional way and
Right.
in hydroponic, right?
Right.
So in soil, there is basic nutrients that the plant requires.
Right.
That's your nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and then there's a lot of micronutrients.
Okay.
In the you call it NPK, and plus the micronutrients is a separate segment of it. That's basically a little lesser
Quantity.
nutrients that the plant requires. So each plant has its own specific requirement when it comes to the light that it requires and the nutrients that it requires. And soil gives it to it, and the sun gives it the light, right? And that's where hydroponic plays its part, is that it eliminates the soil. We use RO water, which is drinkable water. We add these nutrients in the water at the same consistent level the plant requires. Okay, so like the plant's root is just hanging on top of the water, and it is whatever the nutrient that is required for the plants, it just sucks it through the water. So basically, like the timeline when we talk about it, when we are speaking of traditional agriculture, weather plays an important part, right? Like if it's too hot or it gets rainy, like the produce that you're working on can get flushed off. But when it comes to hydroponic, all these limitations are not bounding you. You have more controlled temperature, you have more controlled environment, so your plant actually grows healthier, more nutritious, and faster as well.
Right.
So when we talk about a timeline, what in a traditional soil it would take like 60 days. Over here it takes approximately like 40 days. So that's the difference as well.
Right.
Right.
Also, Piyush, something that just struck me right now. You said कि it requires drinkable RO water,
Right.
right? Now, in a time wherein we know a water crisis is just round the corner, we know
Right.
it is bound to happen. It has already started happening in a lot of countries. In India, also, there's a dearth of drinkable water. There's a
Right.
dearth of clean water.
Right.
In fact, ग्लोबली इतना वाटर क्राइसिस हो रहा है कि पानी ट्रेड होना तक स्टार्ट हो रहा है,
Right.
राइट? सो इन सच अ सिचुएशन, what do you feel, is there a future for hydroponics, a system that mainly relies on clean drinkable water?
Right. So, in terms of, you are asking if it's sustainable or not,
Yes,
right? When
correct.
we talk about water scarcity.
Correct.
So when we are using this water, the drinking water in hydroponic, the reason why we do that is that to make sure the nutrient that we are adding into the water is the correct amount. When you are taking out the water from a bore well, it has a lot of different places will have different
Mineral
mineral
components.
composition
Yeah.
of that water that is coming out.
Right.
So we always suggest that we take it through a RO system and clean the water out, so that when we are adding the nutrients, it's in the correct amount and the plants get the nutrition that it requires. Now, when we are talking about water scarcity, I would say, when compared to a traditional agriculture, if for example traditional agriculture requires 10,000 liters of water just to irrigate like a piece of land, the same piece of land and the same plants would require approximately 500 liters in hydroponic.
Okay.
So you're using 90-95% lesser water in hydroponic because you're building a system that circulates the water and brings it back to you,
Okay.
rather than like just wasting it on the soil.
Right.
That's where your sustainable farming solution comes in play.
Got it. Got it. And how is hydroponically grown produce different from normally grown produce in size, color, taste, quality, all of that?
So we usually put across a farm to fork concept in exhibitions to showcase our products and make people try what is the difference.
Right.
The actual difference that you see is the taste wise, it's much more distinctive.
Okay.
Nutrition wise, it has way more nutrition because you're cutting off a lot of carbon footprint. As the produce travels each and every day, it loses its nutrition. So
Okay.
when we talk about farm to fork, we try and bring the maximum nutrition to you as well.
Right.
So the difference in taste, the difference in nutrition, and the difference in the size or the quality of the produce, you would say, in the times of winter, in the times of summer, you'll see the same kind of produce
So there's
consistency,
consistency.
right?
Right.
But as when we compare the traditional agriculture, weather plays that important part. In the
Yes.
summers, you will see a downfall on
Right.
the size of it, the nutrition, and as well the quality of it. But in winters, it is still the same,
Right,
right?
right. Also, Piyush, like you mentioned, there are chemicals to be added in a specific quantity. Also, I believe in a particular timeline, right? So that makes hydroponics an extremely complicated kind of task, which needs to be done only by people who know how to do it, right? It is not something like, let's say, I can do in my house or any individual can do in their house. So, is it true that hydroponics can be also kept in individual households, or is it something that can only be maintained in large scale factories?
Okay. So actually, Pooja, hydroponic is versatile. Okay,
Okay.
when we talk about hydroponic in a commercial scale, we do so. For example, you asked me the question if the chemicals that are being added. We don't think these are chemicals that we're adding to the water.
Right.
It's the basic nutrients that plant requires.
Correct.
In today's date, you're breathing the air that you're breathing. What does your body need?
Yeah.
What does your body need? Is it need oxygen, right?
Yes.
So oxygen is also on the periodic table, right?
Right.
So it's the same kind of edible nutrients that the
Yes.
plants require,
Correct.
right? And that is what we are adding on to it. And when we talk about the complexity of it, there are a lot of players in the market who build these nutrients and give you a correct composition on how to use it. You just
Correct.
have to follow the ABC rule. That's it.
Instructions, right?
And your water is good to go. Like there are no harmful chemicals that are being added to the water to increase the production of it. Basically,
right.
it's the basic nutrients that a plant requires.
Right.
And when we talk about the commercial or the domestic setup for hydroponic, commercial growers who want to get involved in it, they see a high cost when it comes to setting up an hydroponic farm. But in the long run, if you see a difference of it, how it is differentiated is that the yield that you get from a hydroponic farm is much higher than compared to any other farms in the market. So it fetches you a better price, it
Yeah.
fetches you a better market, and it gives you the better audience for it.
Right.
When we talk about the commercial scale, and for domestic, so we started installing these indoor kitchen gardens in people's house, and it's working perfectly fine. Where
Yeah.
like you literally, it's right by your kitchen. It's completely automated, and it's growing different kinds of salads and herbs for your own kitchen.
Yes.
So it is fulfilling anyone's salad requirements for the house or like herbs requirement.
Right.
So like if you want to even put across like two plants in your house or maybe 50,000 plants, like it's easily doable. There's no
Right.
limitation on where you can start hydroponic. You can start it with one plant as well,
Got
basically.
it, got it.
Yeah.
So it is something that can be installed in individual households.
Definitely.
It is something that individuals can maintain. They just need to follow the basic instructions,
Right.
and it is fairly simple to take up, right?
Definitely.
Also, Piyush, I want to understand. There's another thing that is really getting famous now, which is organic farming, right? People say that produce grown from organic farming is much healthier, much better, right? So, how is hydroponics better than organic farming, or is it the same?
When we talk about organic farming has its own guidelines.
Correct.
As per the constitution as well, organic farming relates to the produce that is grown in soil, and there's no synthetic chemicals being used.
Correct.
Right. And we are using a lot of natural processes to grow
Manures.
the veggies.
Yes.
I would say organic farming has its own limitations when it comes to some person who wanted to practice organic farming or hydroponic farming. Again, you are limited with the seasonality,
Seasonal,
right?
geographic location.
Geographic location, the soil condition,
right.
the water condition. It takes a course of 2 to 3 years to get certified in organically. But with hydroponic, you are actually eliminating all of those. You're
Right.
eliminating the soil requirement, so you don't require any kind of pesticides or any kind of chemicals to make sure your plants are growing safe and
Right.
healthy.
Right.
And so as we talk about the difference of it and the which is better and which is not, I would say both go hand in hand when
Yeah.
it comes to the nutrition value. But when we talk about hydroponic, it can be grown closer to the city, so you're cutting out a lot of carbon footprint. So you're
Okay.
saving the nutrition of the
Right.
same produce,
Right.
and you're getting the fresher produce
Right.
when we talk about it for the consumer requirement.
Got it.
And so there is a thing that is going on in US for the past like 5 6 years, why hydroponic cannot be organically certified. Like it has the same values, nutrition values, and
Yes.
even much better quality. So, but why isn't it? Why can't you get an organic certification for
Huh.
it? The main reason is that the organic certification requires it to be grown in soil.
Oh.
Right, so that's the only criteria that hydroponic doesn't pass, so it doesn't
Yes.
get a certification for it.
Yes.
But recently, US ruled that hydroponic can get an organic certification,
Oh,
so
nice.
it is a big win in the industry as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like each and every market is gonna slowly incorporate a hydroponic as per the organic certification too.
Right,
Right.
right. Also, Piyush, what I have experienced myself is, and which is quite logical also, that hydroponically grown ingredients or vegetables are much more expensive than the normal ones, right? So, again, in India, which is a price sensitive market, do you think you will be able to penetrate with an offering which is premiumly priced and it's basically serving the same purpose? Like if I buy basil
Right.
from a mandi and if I buy basil which is hydroponically grown,
Right.
it's giving me the same input that I require for my dish, right?
Right.
But again, why would I go and buy the more expensive one?
I'm gonna answer this in two different terms.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first part being the price point of the produce that you're talking about. It's very simply put, Pooja. For example, when phones came out in
Yeah.
this world, it was very expensive, right?
Correct.
Cars came out, it was very expensive.
Correct.
As the production increased of them, the cost of it reduced.
Hmm.
Same way when I started the company, our retail packets were priced very high because the requirement wasn't that big,
Right.
but then the cost of transportation was still the same.
Correct.
But as we have moved ahead and we have scaled a little larger, we have reduced those price points to approximately 15 to 20% higher than the traditional market.
Okay.
And when we say 15 to 20% higher, and when you are talking about the basil that you purchase from the local mandi and from a hydroponic company, the difference that you will see is the taste and the amount that you can use.
Yeah.
So, for example, you buy 100 grams of basil from the mandi,
Yeah.
and you buy 100 grams of basil from a hydroponic farm. Uh, the difference is that this 100 grams will give you complete 100 grams of it, and from the mandi you will possibly get like 20 30 grams of good leaves out of it. So at the end of the day, it is comparatively the same price, or be it like in terms of usage, cheaper.
It's true.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
actually true. I have experienced this.
So that's
It's
it.
true. Also, Piyush, hydroponics is still quite a new concept, but also having said that, we have seen a lot of players in this market as well, right? So, how do you feel about the competition in this industry? Because in Kolkata itself, we know 4 5 big players, and अगर पूरे इंडिया का देखा जाए तो काफ़ी सारे हैं जो काफ़ी बड़े स्केल में ये कर रहे हैं. So what do you feel about the competition in the industry, and what do you feel about your brand's positioning amongst these players?
Right. When we talk about the competition in this industry, Pooja, it's a very young industry. There is, as of now, there's no competition, I would say.
Okay.
It is more on the concept of there's room for everyone.
Right.
So hydroponic globally is growing at approximately 6.5 7% every year.
Right.
But we talk about India, it's growing at least at a 13.5% every year. So that's a big statistic point. It's a
Yeah.
big opportunity that people will be
Right.
missing out in the coming years,
Right.
right? And when we talk about the competitive landscape of it, there's room for everyone. There is room for the market. There's room for innovation. There is
Yeah.
room for how to get to the best sustainable practice, basically.
Correct.
How we are positioning ourselves is that we are bringing the whole farm to fork concept live in front of you. So we
Right.
know the source of the seed to the consumer who is purchasing it.
Right.
That's why we can control the produce that is going towards any individual. That's how
Right.
we know that the produce that you are receiving is the
Hmm.
best quality, right?
Right.
And we always try and stay ahead when it comes to the technology part, when it comes to the market part, and when it comes to the customer attention part. So
Right.
we listen to our customers, we understand their
Hmm.
problems, their requirements,
Hmm.
and we make our advancement on those levels,
Got
right?
it.
So we started our brand Eat on this level of understanding people's consumption habits as well. So as of now, the brand is available in like mostly all modern trade stores like Spencer's, Nature's Basket, and a lot of other mom and pop stores.
Right.
And we have seen the consumer trend rising as each and every year we go ahead.
Right.
And when we talk about the business side of it, we have started seeing that a lot of restaurants are also and hotels are also
Hmm.
requiring this same produce because they want to get the same quality of produce year long
Right.
without any hesitation on the quality of it,
Right,
basically.
right. Yeah, because they do need to maintain a certain standard of their dishes also. So for that,
Exactly.
the ingredients that are going in need to be available throughout the year
Exactly.
and in the same quality, of course. Piyush, you mentioned multiple times farm to fork concept, right?
Right.
What is farm to fork concept and how are you maintaining your entire distribution channel?
Right.
वो जहाँ पे प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है वहाँ से लेके एक क्लाइंट के घर तक आपको कैसे पहुँचा रहे हो?
So farm to fork concept, as the words say it,
Hmm.
it's basically how we are cutting out
Hmm.
intermediaries that is in the supply chain
Right.
completely, right? So Pooja, how the landscape of supply chain works in this industry is a farmer gets it to the the wholesale mandi gets to the local mandi gets to your household, right?
Yeah.
This is how the supply chain works.
Yeah.
Now you are losing out on 3 days of fresh produce by the time it is reaching to you.
Yeah.
By the fourth day, it's spoiled, right?
Yeah.
So when we are cutting off all these intermediaries and we are building the farm to fork concept of
Yeah.
it, we are cutting a lot of carbon footprint. We are
Yeah.
cutting out a lot of wastage,
Hmm.
and we are preserving the nutrition that you should be receiving through the
Yeah.
greens and the veggies and the fruits that you
Hmm.
actually do purchase,
Right.
right? So that's where the farm to fork concept plays. It's a
Hmm.
very difficult concept to play
Yeah.
because we started partnering up with a lot of local farmers,
Huh.
and we have started telling them like to send their fresh produce every alternate days to us.
Hmm.
Our plan is to bring it to an everyday model so that we
Hmm.
actually build this in a sustainable model as
Right.
well.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the concept lies to the point of how you can have farm fresh that your grandmothers used to have it back in the
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
right? That is the idea behind it.
Right. So you mentioned you source produce from farmers. So
Hmm.
that means you do not own those hydroponic
So how, see,
setups.
hydroponic also has its limitation when it comes
Right.
to growing different kinds of
Okay.
vegetables. When we talk about growing tomatoes, it can be done hydroponically. But when we talk about growing bottle gourd, like it can't be grown hydroponically in a sustainable manner.
Correct.
So we push protected farming on that end. We
Okay.
tell our farmers who have their own farms in a poly house, we teach them how to grow in the most sustainable manner. We cater to their needs. We avoid chemical usage completely, and we teach them the better way of farming when it comes to either hydroponics or
Yeah.
either practicing organic farming.
Okay. Got it.
And that's where we are being able to source the local the daily veggies from the
Yes.
farmers and helping them to get access to the market directly
Right.
rather than like them going to the mandis directly,
Mandis,
right?
yes. Like you mentioned, it's a fairly new industry, and you have also recently started your brand. What was your motivation behind starting this venture, and
Right.
what have been the small milestones that you have experienced in the few years since you have
Right.
started the brand?
So, Pooja, the whole concept of hydroponic was an answer to a problem that I was looking at.
Okay.
When in 2018, I think, when I started looking at the market for agriculture, and I was it was a summer time, and you wouldn't get fresh lettuces or like fresh leafy greens in
Yes.
the market, because that was a limitation of the market as well,
Yes.
right? Like seasonality existed at that point.
Yes.
And our mothers and our grandmothers used to be like मैं अभी थोड़ी ना
हाँ.
तुम्हारा ये आएगा ये.
हाँ.
So that whole idea of like अभी नहीं आएगा and ये 3 महीना बाद आएगा was very weird to me, right?
Okay.
So in my college years, I
Yeah.
was not in India. So you used to get 365 the same day, the
Yes.
same kind of produce every
Yes.
single day, and the freshest out there, right? And so when we started researching on this idea, how can we eliminate this problem of seasonality?
Right.
Hydroponic was the answer for it,
Okay.
basically. So that's how I entered the hydroponic industry,
Yes.
right? And after like 3 or 4 years of R&D research, training myself, we set up a indoor vertical farm, right? That was our first stepping stone of getting into the market. We developed this whole system of harvesting more than 250 times in a year, which was not a normal thing in this industry. Then after that, we from square feet of land, we used to do 10 to 12 times more produce that you can get out of a traditional land.
Right.
So
Right.
these were the small milestones in the operation side.
Yes.
As we started growing, we developed a whole system of supply chain where we can get this freshest produce to the market without hampering the economic side of the business. And after after which we developed our own brand. We started retailing in sectors of modern trade, a lot of other stores. Now you can get it on our own website. It's
Yes.
ecoponic.in,
Ah.
where you can literally, it's easy to use, and you basically add your cart and you get the freshest produce delivered to your own house.
Right.
So basically, you're cutting out a complete chain of
Yes.
intermediary and getting the freshest produce to your house. That's
Right.
your farm to fork concept also plays
Right.
the best out there.
Right.
Uh,
So Piyush, before you started Ecoponic Agri Tech, what were you doing? What is your background? Have you specialized in food technology, or was this a passion that you followed?
So Pooja, I graduated from University of Illinois at Chicago, and after my graduation, I worked couple years in the city itself. In those years, I came across a hydroponic farm as well. We did a lot of marketing activities for them for 4 to 5 months. So I majored in business and information and decision systems. Uh, so when I got back to India, so I started my mind started working is to find solutions for the market. And that's where we found that the seasonality is still a thing over here, and hydroponic is a solution for that.
Right.
That's where we got involved in the hydroponic.
Right.
And with the sheer passion of actually eating good and healthy things, that's where my frustration started to begin, when I started to get answers like कि ये अभी तो मिलेगा नहीं मार्केट में, ये तो 3 महीना बाद आएगा, ये तो. And I used to just get baffled कि क्या, what is this like conversation, like why is this a conversation in the 21st century यार, मतलब आपको मिलता कैसे नहीं है. So like, and that's when this whole mission, the whole passion came into a business point of view, basically.
So Piyush, what I have noticed is major hydroponic brands are based out of, let's say, Nashik or Pune or even Delhi for that matter. And we know that we take it with a pinch of salt that Kolkata or Bengal is a place that takes newer concepts a little more slowly. Yes, it's a very liberal state in terms of culture, in terms of art, but कुछ भी नया हो या कुछ expensive हो तो उसको accept करने में थोड़ा time लगता है बंगाल को. So being based out of Kolkata, do you feel your opportunities are kind of limited compared to brands that are based out of other metropolitan cities? Do you think you're being able to grow as fast as you could have if you were, let's say, in Mumbai or Delhi or Bangalore,
Right.
in such a city?
When we talk about the Bengal landscape and we compare it with a Delhi or a Bombay landscape, let's talk about Bengal first. So Bengal has its own agriculture challenges when it comes to what's being grown in Bengal.
Right.
So if you are practicing hydroponic over here, you are focusing on the local demands more rather than a consumer demand.
Right.
So your business will always be higher on the business B2B scale than a
Okay.
B2C scale,
Okay.
right? And when we talk about hydroponics being practiced in Delhi or Bombay, there's a lot of urban area to be who don't get the access to the fresh produce,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that becomes your target market
Huh.
again. So your D2C is higher in these cities compared to the B2B,
Right.
right? That's the only difference when it comes to Bengal and compared to the Delhi and Bombay. And when we talk about growing exponentially in Bombay, in these two different landscapes, it's a different market segment. So how we work it, we are looking at market requirements, and we are pushing those requirements,
Okay.
right? The same way when we have plans of expansion to go to other cities,
Right.
is to develop the same system over there, but focus more on the retail sector,
Okay.
right? So
Got it.
that's the difference between these
Got
both
it.
these industries.
Right.
So for a hydroponic player in Bombay who might be a small or a large scale player, subscriptions can be a very easy way of model,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Like a family of 2 or 4 has subscribed to
Right.
the greens, and every
Right.
week you're getting
Huh.
2 set of greens or 1 set of greens.
Huh.
And but in Bengal, it doesn't fly that much, because there is a lot of families that are actually wanting to have this kind of produce, but not the working class,
Okay.
right? Because working class are more inclined towards
Mach bhat.
exactly. So when we talk about families, they don't want to be constrained to a point of like every week मेरे को ये चीज चाहिए. They want every day something fresh, something
Yes.
different.
Yes.
So that's where your retail sector is different over here. So
Right.
subscriptions always work in that sector, but in Bengal, subscription doesn't
Right.
really take off.
Right.
Right.
Also, I believe these subscription models will work better with uh, people who are maybe living away from their houses, younger
Exactly.
people,
Exactly.
working professionals who do not have time to go to the mandi and shop.
Exactly.
Here, the culture is such कि काकू जाएंगे सुबह मंडी में
सही बात
शॉपिंग
है.
करेंगे वो उनकी
हाँ.
रूटीन का पार्ट है.
Part है.
They don't even want to eliminate that because they enjoy
Right.
that.
Right.
They will check every tomato individually and then
Yeah.
they will put it
Yeah.
in their bag and
Yeah.
haggle with the dukandar, and then they will
Definitely.
get it. So I feel they enjoy that. They don't want to eliminate that.
Right.
And I think this solution is more apt for people who don't have the time to do that, who are already ordering vegetables from, let's say, Instamart or Blinkit,
Right.
and they want to offload this task to someone.
Right.
So subscriptions will work really well with them.
Right.
Also, I believe that India has now reached or is reaching a stage where most of the people's purchasing power is improving, right? So with that improvement in purchasing power, we are seeing economy भी grow कर रहा है, लोग ज़्यादा spend भी कर रहे हैं, चाहे वो clothes में हो, weddings में हो, electronic gadgets में हो, कोई भी चीज़ में हो. We are seeing more and more people are becoming Apple users in India, which can also be related to the trend कि हाँ और खर्चा करना चाहते हैं लोग.
Right.
So if you provide them with a premium product, they might not be that hesitant towards purchasing that. So have you also experienced that with hydroponics, that people are more welcoming towards it?
So again, I would go back to the time when we started.
Yeah.
We faced a lot of issues that you are putting out right now. People weren't accepting or they wouldn't know actually what is the difference of it. So they wouldn't, when they didn't know about it, they don't want to spend about it.
They are like,
right?
ये एक पैकेट 100 रुपए का क्यों है, मैं क्यों दूँ?
मैं क्यों दूँ, right? But and then coming back to the time now, that 100 rupee packet is a easily accessible packet that they are getting, right? So the difference that what we have seen is purchasing power did increase, but at the same time, it's cause of the knowledge and the health consciousness that has increased.
Right.
That is where families and consumers have started spending that extra buck for the quality of food that they require.
Right.
मैं सिंपल बात बोलता हूँ कि आप 30 years the food that you are eating, that is chemically induced, that is grown with a lot of urea in the soil, and that is where the quality and the nutrition is depleting in the traditional market. So if you're going for that price sensitive point, आप 30 साल के बाद उससे 10 गुना ज़्यादा पैसा स्पेंड करोगे मेडिसिन के ऊपर, ठीक है, तो आप उससे 5% ज़्यादा आप अपने खाने में लगाते हो, so it's just going in your system, right? Like what you're eating, that's what you're becoming,
हाँ
right?
हाँ
So that's where we are playing a very important part in the awareness programs.
right right
So our whenever we do exhibitions, we bring this out front, where we
right
try and tell people why, what, and make them try it. So once they try it, then there is no going back to the regular
हाँ
thing, because that's where they realize that, oh अच्छा ये ऐसे
हाँ
टेस्ट करता है,
हाँ
ठीक है। तो वहाँ डिफरेंस हम लोग को
हाँ
दिखाई दिया कि अभी तक बहुत जन जानते ही नहीं थे कि बेसल का टेस्ट
हाँ
कैसा होना चाहिए,
हाँ
या लेटस का या एरुगुला का, ये सब का
हाँ
टेस्ट कैसा होना चाहिए।
हाँ
इट वाज जस्ट ऑल लीव्स।
right
Now you see a different palette of
हाँ
taste when it comes to these leaves.
Yeah, even I don't remember, but someone was telling me that lettuce kai there are 37 types, you know,
Yeah,
and I'm sure if we go to the market and buy it, we just say lettuce and वो हमें जो
एक ही मिलता
available है वो
है,
दे
right,
देता है.
right,
We don't even think कि ये कौन सा type है, ये कौन सा
yeah,
category है. Also, I believe awareness is something that even we face a lot of problem with, because when we go to people and tell them ki e-waste recycle karo because it's good for your health and so they don't really care, you
right,
know. What really I think is convincing people these days is convenience. So with Blinkit, with Instamart, with Uber, with Ola, people have become so used to convenience
right,
कि घर बैठे बैठे काम हो जा रहा है या सामान आ जा रहा है या मिल जा रहा है जो भी चाहिए, that even when we tell them कि आप घर पे बैठे रहो, we will pick up your e-waste.
right,
That is the selling point for them,
exactly,
more than the health factor.
exactly,
So I think for you also saying कि एक वीक का ग्रोसरी आपको मिल जाएगा बिगनिंग ऑफ द वीक में अलग अलग टाइप का, and then you can plan your week accordingly, you don't have to go anywhere, that will be a bigger selling point than the health factor. The health factor might strike a chord with certain people, but then it'll take a lot of educating and a lot of convincing
yeah,
in that domain,
right.
right? Also Piyush, I want to understand कि क्या चैनल्स है जिसके थ्रू मैं ऑर्डर कर सकती हूँ आपका सामान.
Right.
वन यू टोल्ड मी नेचर्स बास्केट में अवेलेबल है, आपके वेबसाइट में अवेलेबल है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट
So let me first answer the question of when we talk about someone being at home and getting their
Yeah.
produce for the week.
Yeah.
So it's again like we'll loop back to the concept of that's the subscription model, which
Right.
doesn't work that well in the city.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So how we have tackled this problem is why we developed this website ecoponic.in. It's simply ecoponic.in, where you just go online, you get all the list of the produce, you place an order with us, it gets harvested and sent to you the same day. The way that we are being able to do that is that we have a long supply chain that we are catering to in the market as it is. So the first the flush of the produce that is coming in, it's for the consumers, for the direct consumers.
Okay.
So they get the freshest produce the quickest time.
Yeah.
Very soon we are going to be launching our own D2C platform where you can get these produces within an hour. So that's where we are trying to market as the freshest produce, but at the same time the fastest way possible to get to you.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the price points, it's very nominal. As you pay in a retail store, you will get the same way you get
Right.
in Blinkit as well.
Right. But my question is, why wouldn't you position the same product on an Instamart or a Blinkit or a Grofers instead of launching your own
see,
D2C platform?
Instamart, when we talk about Instamart, Blinkit, Zepto, they are very price sensitive markets.
Okay.
So they like to buy in bulk and they like to sell minimal, and they want to have a margin in that as well. So they don't respect the quality of the produce that you are putting in.
Okay.
So we have seen a diminishing brand presence when when you sell it in a retail platform, because you might be getting a 2 day, 3 day old product, but when you are buying it directly from us,
Yeah.
you're getting the freshest product and it's staying with you for another 7 days. So each and every product of ours are there's a date that when it's packed and when it's supposed to be consumed.
Okay.
And each of them has a minimum of 7 day shelf life.
Right.
So when a person, for example, Pooja, you get a salad mix today and you want to have a little bit salad today, tomorrow, day after, one pack will suffice you for 3 to 4 days easily. and
Okay.
the way of storage is just in a refrigerator. There is no extra bit that you have to do. Whereas the same thing that you buy in the market,
Yeah.
you will possibly spend the same amount, but the next day it will get all spoiled.
हाँ.
So we don't count the wastage or the things that we are throwing in the
हाँ.
dustbin. We
हाँ.
always see what we are buying,
हाँ.
right?
Like
Like
क्या सस्ता में
क्या
मिल रहा है.
सस्ता में मिल रहा है,
हाँ.
बट आप ये नहीं देखते हो कि कितना फेंका भी जा रहा है.
हाँ.
ठीक है, सो लाइक वो अवेयरनेस पॉइंट धीरे धीरे बढ़ रहे हैं लोगों में. So that's how we are catering to the market, and that's how our consumers know now that the produce that they get from us is long lasting, is better in quality, is
Right.
nutritious, and you get it the same day.
Right.
So you can always plan your dinners with us, basically.
Yeah. Also, Piyush, what are the support policies that you are expecting from the government as hydroponics industry? Because recently we've seen how the government is supporting Save Soil movement so much, right?
Right.
Which I wouldn't say is against your personal objectives, but is sort of clashing with what you are trying to promote. So for that movement also, and apart from that campaign also, what are the policies that you would like the government to propose in order to help your cause?
I would say government is doing its job when it
हाँ.
comes to promoting hydroponics. It is in a delay format,
हाँ.
but they are coming there.
Okay.
Right? So for example, there are boards like National Horticulture Board who promotes hydroponic.
Okay.
They have a subsidy alignment on that. So an investment of X amount will give you a 50% subsidy back. So you're getting that money back from the government as well.
Wow.
So you have all of these. So when we started, at that point, subsidies weren't a thing for hydroponics. So like, and for the past year and a half, 2 years, we have seen a lot of individuals who we partnered with, and they are getting their investments back also. They are getting their subsidies.
That's
So
nice.
the government is playing a good part in it. There is no doubt about that. And when it comes to the central body of the government, they are up to date with it. But when we take a state level, there's still some improvement on that.
Right.
End,
Right.
So there's always the agriculture department. There is a private organization called ICAR, which actually support this, and they give you the help and the guidance and need when it comes to going through the government section of it, basically. So you don't feel that like you are doing something new that you don't know anything about. There is something. There is a backup on it.
Right. Right. And Piyush, for anyone who would want to join this industry, what would you have to say about the returns that they can expect? How early can they expect to break even? Or what kind of profits can they expect to make? I'll just give you an example. For example, the e-waste industry right now is growing at a scale ki 2x, 4x, 6x हो रहा है लोगों का investment. That is the kind of growth that we are experiencing. So for your industry, what is the growth percentage, or what is the profitability that one can expect?
So from the first year compared to the year that we are in right now, we have seen year on year growth, uh, at least 80% to 90% when it comes to the sales part.
Okay.
And we are seeing that month on month growth as well, right? It will come to a point where it will come down to a 20 to 30% growth, right? But then when we talk about the industry as a whole, it is growing at a 13.5% in India, right? And when we talk about an investment, someone who wants to make an X amount of investment, with the subsidies aligned and proper governing body and proper structuring, you get your money back within 2 to 3 years of it. And a normal manufacturing unit takes approximately 3 to 4 years to give you your money back, right? So with this government help, that timeline has come down to 2 years.
Okay,
right?
got it. Got
So
it.
that's where the business side actually works better for you.
Got it. And also, Piyush, like you mentioned, that the farm to fork concept ensures कि तुरंत produce पहुँचे,
Right.
which would also mean that you have limitations when it comes to the geographical boundaries कि आप कहाँ तक अपना produce भेज सकते हो.
Right.
So, what is the geographical area wherein Ecoponic is currently active?
So we are actually catering to more than 156 pin codes in Calcutta.
Okay.
So you, be it you are in Newtown or be it you are in Salt Lake or be it you are in Gadia, like you can still buy a produce from the website
Got
and
it.
it gets delivered to you straight to your
Got
house.
it. Got it.
The way we are being able to do that is that by like getting the whole source of a farm to the city and then doing a distribution from there.
Okay. Got
So
it.
we have our last mile delivery partners who take care of the delivery needs of customers,
Right.
and as well we have our in-house delivery
Uh-huh.
for parties that are bulk.
Right.
Basically, that's how we actually cut off every subsidiary that comes in the middle. Basically.
Yeah. Just so that it's easier to expedite the process.
Exactly.
Right. So
Yeah.
currently, their produce is available in the entire city of Calcutta.
Right. Right.
Got it.
Right.
So anyone who wants to join this industry, if they want to start off their own hydroponics brand, or they want to start off with the setup of growing hydroponics, what is the kind of investment and the kind of work that will go into starting such a brand?
So it all depends on the pocket size that you have
Right.
and the land that you want to use it in.
Okay.
We always tell our clients start off with a small project which is economically feasible.
Right.
At the same time, you have a scope of growing on
Right,
it, right?
right.
Like you won't burn your hands in setting up a big plant as when you start it off. So when we talk about an investment, it can be anywhere between like 1 rupee to like 10 crores also. Right. So
Okay.
like it all depends on the type of investment that you want to do and
Correct.
you want to invest in. We talk about a commercial scale, like it goes beyond a minimum of 10 to 15 lakhs and then it goes ahead.
Okay.
Right. And when we talk about for the enthusiastic, like you can literally spend 500 bucks and like have a small little setup in your own house and practice hydroponic.
Yeah.
So you get a little thrill of it,
Huh.
and that will encourage them to even like pursue more forward.
Correct.
Basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what is it that you are planning for EAT in the future? Let's say 3 or 5 years down the line, where do you see your brand reaching?
So Eat for a Healthier Future is the name of the brand.
Yes.
Right. We developed this brand to inculcate all the healthy additions and make it a one-stop shop for all things wellness and health.
Right.
So we started with the hydroponic. Now we have added on a lot of organic, a lot of farm fresh, a lot of other healthy additions that you can get across, which will make you a good meal. Right. With the brand Eat, we are seeing at becoming a one-stop shop for all things healthy, and with the business side of it, we are trying to become the sustainable farming option that you can come to. So when we say sustainable farming option, there's a limitation when someone who wants to get into commercial farming, they are scared of like what to grow, how to grow, and where to sell. So we answer all these three questions and we give them a whole guidebook and we handhold them. Right. So like if for a commercial grower who wants to get into this, we tell them you grow ABC of these items of this many amount, and we actually buy it back from them. So they start becoming economically good, stable right away. They are happy with the produce that they are getting, and they are practicing hydroponic as they wanted to as well, basically.
Right. Right.
See, there's a lot of positive financial aspects as well when it comes to hydroponic farming. At the end of the day, it's fresh produce, so it's you're getting tax-free income from it. You're doing good for the society. You are you're generating revenue from a land that was not arable, was not fertile. Right, so you can literally have an empty warehouse, or you can have a empty basement. Right, you can still practice hydroponic.
Right.
So that's where like for a business owner, it becomes a boon that was basically a piece of land which was not giving you any source of income. It started giving you a source of income.
Right. You also mentioned that it gives you tax-free income. So I think that's a very interesting point that I would like you to elaborate on.
So as the agriculture market states, like all the produce, the fresh produce that is sold, comes under the 0% tax bracket. So farmers are not taxed in India. Right. So the same thing
Is applicable on
for the
hydroponics as well.
hydroponic. The only difference is the farmer's investment might be 1 lakh, a hydroponic investment is 10 lakh, but it gets you further on, like it gets you better yield. There are government bodies that are helping and giving 50% subsidies back, so your initial investment wouldn't be that high when it comes
Right.
to setting up the farm. uh,
Right.
but at the same time, your recurring revenues will always be higher.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So I think we got to learn a lot
Of
about
course.
hydroponics in particular and farming in a sustainable way in general. And I feel it's a great way to also get into a healthier lifestyle. Consuming hydroponic produce, and I've personally tried it myself, and yes, it does taste a lot better. Uh, that's very true. And last time when Piyush was exhibiting at Green Architects, I remember seeing how fresh and big and colorful the
Right.
vegetables were looking.
Right.
They were looking like I would want to eat those
That's the
vegetables, which
difference of
might
it.
not be the case
For a
with a
lot of
lot of
people.
other vegetables. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today,
you so much,
Piyush.
Pooja.
We had a lot of fun, and we will be back with you in another episode of We the People. तब तक सबको बताओ, वेस्ट घटाओ.
Thank you.